So one of the biggest headlines right now everyone's talking about is what's going on in Baltimore.
Sure.
Have you been following that at all?
I've seen some information about it. You know, the news it can be so dark sometimes. I mean, it's scattered
so
and
inaccurate too, so biased. I don't know. What are your thoughts on what they're doing, how they're reacting?
I put it like this. I remember I was on CNN a few weeks ago. We were celebrating it was the 50th anniversary of I don't know if it was the second or third crossing of Pettus Bridge, Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it and drawing parallels to Ferguson and you know, other areas that are having, you know, similar events take place as did Selma, and I was asked a question about, you know, what did I want to say about the situation. It's like we have to learn from the past lest we repeat it. You know, I'm looking at characters like Jimmy Lee Jackson, and it looks like Mike Brown. You know what I mean? Or, you know, it's just it's disappointing that the first thing that we do, you know what I mean, in this country is look for the negative. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Look for the negative and then associate color with that and associate behavior with color. And I mean, it's a, I don't know. It's completely dark, completely negative, and we make movies like Selma to try and remind the country, remind the world that this is where we've been. We don't have to be here anymore. I don't like to play the blame game. I like to, you know, we're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And I think the solution, you know, back then the solution was demonstrations. Baltimore to me looks like a demonstration, albeit not necessarily like they did, not a nonviolent demonstration, which is unfortunate,
But there are people who are doing nonviolence.
Absolutely,
there,
absolutely.
And they're kind of getting overshadowed, as with Mike Brown. And there were people doing, but the media tended to
focus on the negative,
on the violence. Yeah.
And that's the thing, you know. If it's the same thing about television, the same thing in life. Would you rather hear somebody, you know, speaking poetry, or would you rather see somebody gossiping? You know, sometimes we can be the problem, and ultimately, you know, that's why I do what I do. I think that's why you do what you do. You know, it's about, you know, taking the mirror, casting it onto society, and saying this is what we look like.
Yeah.
How are we going to change this for our children? And you know, Freddie Gray's somebody's kid. Oscar Grant, somebody's kid. Trayvon Martin, somebody's kid. It's sad, and you know, not to excuse anybody. I wasn't there, so I can't say what happened and what didn't happen. But death, violence of that nature, is always a last resort. Always a last resort, and it's unfortunate that, you know, we are where we are, and hopefully we can find some peace, a universal language of love that, you know, we all can participate in, and activities like this, actions like this can dissipate. I think there needs to be a direct objective that we all can, you know, that a certain group can agree on, you know what I mean? And back in the day, I mean, look, you know, with the movie, you had the SCLC, you had SNCC, you had NAACP. You know, they had certain objectives, but ultimately, I guess the most popular objective won out. You know, it was all for the same thing, for the same cause, which was the betterment of the black man, the black woman, the black child. I don't know. I don't know that it needs to be a person more than it needs to be kind of like directives more. You know what I mean? You live on Maple Street, fix Maple Street, and then, you know, reach out.
Yeah.